Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com. And tonight, we are going to kick it metal style. Is that the way to say that? I don't know. I'm old. I'm not hip like all you cool cats are. I don't even think that's the way to say it. Just forget about it. But I know more about comics than you probably do. So come on the show and meet who we're talking to, because we're going to talk about the industry. We're going to talk about people who are putting the new hottest books out. And tonight we are welcoming to the show for the first time ever Mr. Frank Forte.
Hey, RJ.
Talk with us about WARLASH. Hey, Frank, how are you? Man?
Good to see you, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Glad to do it. So we starting to get the chat fired up here. Hex Allen's out there. He's going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Hex I think it was last night we were hanging out.
Was that the mega stream that he had going?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I tuned in and out on that one. It's like, you guys are still here.
And sometimes they go all night. These guys are crazy, man. COVID turned everybody into like these streamers and these virtual hangouts. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't have happened without it, you know?
Eric July is like lighting up my phone notifications every other hour. I'm like, what? He's on again? But I admire him for being able to pull it off. I've done it a couple of times. We've had 12-hour marathons on a Saturday before. Wow,
crazy.
Love to do it again, but I think I just got lucky and was able to line up 12 different guests in a row.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're right, Hex. That was exhausting, but yes, you can stop. There's probably a 12-step program in your future for streaming. So, David. He's next week. Frank. Not enough coffee yet.
Yeah, take a sip. Relax.
I need a little bit,
take a sip.
Probably need to pour something a little bit clearer into the coffee.
A little flask in there.
I don't know. For some reason, I was getting you confused with like 3 other people in there. None of their names came out right. If I call you Frank Thorne at some point, just
that would be a compliment.
But tell us about WARLASH here, because this is
this is my new Kickstarter. It's called WARLASH Cold Metal Mayhem, and it's live now on Kickstarter. It will be going until June 19th, about 9:30 it ends, and it's WARLASH is basically he's like a armored warrior of justice in a post-apocalyptic future. So you could think Judge Dredd, WARLASH, the Scorpion from Spider-Man, because he's got like the scorpion tail, and he fights all sorts of mutants, creatures, cyborgs, android villains, and he's like a renegade rogue agent. A weaponized agent of the government who went rogue, and he's on his own. He's got a couple of allies that are like these quirky allies, and a computer guy that's trying to help him network the systems, and so he's got a small team together, and so Cold Metal Mayhem is 3 short stories. That one is done by Steve Mannion from Fearless Dawn. Another is Dwayne Harris, who is works on heavy metal, and we're working on the 3rd one right now. So we have some, some variant covers. We have a metal cover. We have a sketch cover, and we're just trying to get the word out to raise the funds for printing. It's 2 one-shot issues that are both going to be available in comic stores as well. And we're just trying to raise the funds, and then we have a bunch of Asylum Press back issues as add-ons. So we got a bunch of cool stuff from the vaults. If you're not familiar with Asylum Press stuff, we've done Vampire Versus, Fearless Dawn, Asylum of Horrors, Satan's Circus of Hell. We've done a bunch of stuff over the years. But we're an indie publisher, so we don't put out that much, but the stuff I feel is really quality. So yeah, if you scroll down,
take risks on stuff that the mainstream wouldn't touch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we're not governed by any code or anything. So our stuff could be a little more gory, a little more violent, a little more revealing. It's just got a lot of. So this is like WARLASH. If you don't know who he is, I've had a bunch of artists do their take on him over the years. So this is kind of like a little intro to who he is, what he does, his world, the villains that he fights, and you can see the different styles. Some are by me. One is by Ben Olsen. He's a gaming concept designer. Nenad Gusunja is from Serbia. It's there's a lot of really cool takes on the character from over the years.
Yeah, it's very you compared it to Judge Dredd, and there's a lot of Dredd influence in here in terms of the villains. I mean, these worm creatures with a human head, this ginormous bulk of a fat man in the back here. That all
is a giant mutant. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Judge Dredd and reading heavy metal and reading Epic Illustrated and all the sci-fi mags, and just wanting to take it a little like a step further, just make it a little more intense, a little more hard hitting. Like my action scenes, like a lot of times I'll read comics, there's a lot of dialogue and then just a little bit of action. And when I read the Frank Miller stuff, I'd see like all this action. So when I do my comics, I try to add more action and slicing and dicing and laser blast in there. So it's a little more like I try to pace it out like a high intensity, like a Fast and the Furious or a Crank or, one of those Hong Kong action films. So when you're reading it, you're into it, and it's a little more intense. I mean, it's hard to control the pacing with a comic book, but, you can kind of do it what you can with the panels. So that's what I try to do with it. So just to make it a little different than some of the stuff I've seen out there.
Yeah, I mean, lately, and I know it's kind of a joke, but lately it's been a lot of heroes sitting down at the table, eating dinner and drinking coffee and talking.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that even with some of the Marvel and DC stuff, there's like a lot of dialogue, like they're dialogue heavy, and I'm like, where's the action? Where's the crazy action scenes? But
exactly.
I mean, look, there's some witty dialogue. I try to put it into the action scene as they're fighting, which could kind of be kind of funny, like two characters duking out their wits as they battle. But it's comic books, it's fun too. Like there's a bit of humor in there, and of course absurdity. I mean, come on, it's an armored warrior with a tail fighting mutants. It's got to have a little comedy in there,
Yeah, I think the industry it likes to try to repeat what it saw work,
right?
At a point. So it used to be you'd had these action books, and then you'd stop, and there'd be like this one issue that was like a slice of life. It's like, okay, the war is over. Let's take a breath. Let's have two characters go out and do something that we would be normal. See them in a normal setting. Get to go deep into the character a little bit, make them fleshed out a little bit more, and the next issue go back into the the next big fighting event, and people were like, "Oh, that's really cool. We got to see him, we got to see Wolverine go to the arcade.
Yeah,
that was nice." But now it's like the industry saw that and said, "Everybody loved that issue. Let's do the whole series of that."
Yeah, right. It gets a little nutty. Like Chris Claremont, sure, he would do that once in a while, but you'd have these great issues of action and fighting and the build-up. But yeah, you can't have too much of that. I think it gets a little boring. I mean, people want to see superheroes fight. They have superpowers.
Yeah, I do love the costume on this. You compared it to Judge Dredd and Scorpion. I definitely see the tail is definitely Scorpion. Did you ever read Batman versus Predator?
I think I may. Who did the art on that?
Oh, now you're gonna ask me the hard question.
Because I have Batman versus Judge Dredd. That came out in the '90s, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure Batman versus Predator did too.
Came out around. I have Batman versus Man Bat. I know I have that one, which is Brian. But John Bolton, I think, did that one. I don't know. I should check it out. It's good.
I'm looking it up. Dave Gibbons.
Okay.
Dave Gibbons did the art.
Right.
But there's Batman's just a human, so Predator obviously kicks his ass and sends him home.
Right.
But when he recovers, the suit that he puts together to fight the Predator looks a lot like this suit here. You know,
Cool.
This armor, it's the the short point ears and the red visor in front.
Interesting.
So that was the first thing I thought. I was like, I've seen something like this before.
Right. Cool.
Back up, see if I can't find a picture of the Batman versus Predator armor while we're talking here. So what drove you to create WARLASH here? And
I mean, I was always into creating, my own comics, even from day one, like in the early 90s, I was into doing my own stuff. And I always wanted to do the character, but when I moved out to LA in the early 2000s, I started doing, storyboards for different animated TV shows, animated films, movies. And, that kind of takes over. You don't really have time to do comics because comics are very, labor intensive, So I kind of would put out one book a year, 1 or 2 books. I started doing stuff on Webtoon, putting my books out there just to get the old stuff out there. But, with COVID, it just kind of work dried up. So I just started drawing and writing my own characters again. It gave me time. I was sitting home. I wanted to be creative. So I came up with a bunch of stuff, and now I'm ready to kickstart it and put it out.
I think a lot of creators did that. I should have, I was like, I'll be able to crank out 5 or 6 novels this year. I didn't get a thing cranked out, but I did grow my YouTube channel, I guess.
Right.
I found the image I was looking for there.
Oh, right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's kind of ish. Now that I'm seeing it, it's not quite the same thing.
Yeah, but he's got the shoulder pads and the 2 horns sticking up, and he's a little bit armored.
Yeah, it was cool when you saw it, and then it's like now it's Batman wearing armor again.
Yeah, again, right.
So you worked in animation. You mentioned what would we have seen that you had your stamp on?
I mean, the big show is Bob's Burgers, of course. Everybody, loves that show. And I worked on that for maybe 4 years, and then also worked on the comic book. So I did a bunch of covers. I did some stories for Dynamite. So I'm in a bunch of the trade paperbacks of that. And recently I worked on Solar Opposites, which was the show from the creators of Rick and Morty. I did storyboards on that. Worked on Lovecraft Country, which is that HBO show that came out a few months ago. That was pretty popular. 3 Below, which was a DreamWorks show. Worked on that. Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I worked on that about a year ago. And
now, a lot of those are animation.
No. So I bounce back and forth, right? I work in animation and live action film. So I worked on a lot of Blumhouse movies like Truth or Dare, Insidious, The Last Key, Fantasy Island, and the animation. Those are the big ones, and it worked on a lot of stuff that you probably haven't heard, like Hi Hi Puffy Ami. That was a few years back. So I worked on a lot of stuff, but I mean, Bob's Burgers is like the big one.
Yeah, Puffy Ami, they were the ones who sang the Teen Titans song. Before
Teen Titans Network they're a real Japanese pop group, and then Cartoon Network made a show about them, an animated show.
Well, the cool thing here is that you have a digital tier on this, which has afforded us what we call our shake and bake moment, Frank.
Nice.
We have had somebody just back the digital tier.
I love it.
Now you are at the, if it'll finish refreshing, although it probably refreshed under my nose and I didn't see it. But at any rate, it's time for a little bit of a shake and bake.
It's shake and bake, and I help. Shake and bake, and I help.
So yes, George, you helped. Thank you.
Thanks, George. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
another thing we haven't announced, or we announced a little bit, is every 40 backers, I think I am giving away a free 7x10 drawing original sketch of WARLASH. And so we're already up to 88. So we're going to do that twice. And, I might I don't know if I should bring it down to like 20, like do it more often, but just so backers know, I do know that I have to do some drawings, and there's going to be a, like a, not a runoff, but not a grab bag. What do you call those? A raffle.
Raffle, yeah.
Of every time we get 40 backers, we're going to do a raffle of an original sketch, and should probably bring it down to 20. I don't know, but we're trying to do that to get more people to bring their friends in and get more backers if we can, because I'm trying everything. There's like stretch goals at 3,000, 4,000. It's just really difficult to get the word out. It's tough. So we're trying to do things to entice people and just like tell people, hey, it's a cool book. If you like indie comics and you like aggressive, violent action stuff, like this is your thing.
Yeah. Now it's very much also like heavy metal, and you've been associated with heavy metal in the past. This is kind of a tough call, maybe, but do you think heavy metal's recent kerfuffle with fans on Twitter might have impacted the fans' desire for something heavy metal-ish?
You're talking about like the Tarna thing or something with
the Tarna
the
thing,
armor.
Not even so much the armor, but their handling of the situation, I thought was
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that didn't really. I was doing this way before that whole thing happened. But I mean, I was back editing stories with heavy metal when Kevin Eastman was working. That's when I started. Like 2008, I started getting stories in there, and then Kevin he liked the stuff I was doing. He's like, hey, you run a publishing company. Why don't you edit an issue? I'm like, edit a whole issue? I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'd love to do that. So 271 was the first issue. It was the Asylum Press special. And we put in a WARLASH story and a bunch of other stories from Asylum Press, and then a bunch of news stories from the creators I work with. And it's really a fan favorite. Like everyone really loves the heavy metal 271 issue. And it did so well that they let me do 277. And that was the second one I did. That was the horror special a year later. And then soon after that, Grant Morrison came in as editor. And, he was more in control of what went in the mag. And I was just I acted as an editor. So I would bring stories in and show stories and pitch stuff. So, I still worked there during the whole, Grant Morrison reign. And then up to issue 300, I brought in like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 short stories in 300, including the Mobius story.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So, and then, this was the heavy metal, the sketch cover that they did. And they only did this one sketch cover, which was heavy metal 300. So, yeah, like this, I got in this story, which was Lucy by Liberator. So Liberator, who did Rank Xerox.
Yeah.
This was his other story that he did, which is about a story about the first ape that was like the man-human ape, Lucy. And it's kind of like her story. So this was never published in English. So I was, I helped get that into heavy metal. So fans of Liberator were psyched to see that, because he hasn't really had anything, printed in a while in heavy metal. And he doesn't do many
Ranxerox
stories.
was like, what, 40 years ago almost?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And then this Mobius story is something I found. There's not a lot of Mobius stories that haven't seen print, but this was one of them. So I kind of found that through, foreign publishers and stuff. Got that in the magazine. Also got the last Richard Corbin story that was in the magazine, which was Murphy World. So this was, I think this was the second to last chapter. I think there was 15. But yeah, I was responsible for getting that very last story of his, the serial in heavy metal, which ran for 15 issues.
Now, which issue was this one again? The 271 and 277?
This is issue 300 right
300,
here.
okay.
I worked with Blake Norcott on her Synapse story, and then also got Duke Mighton, who worked for Verotic and stuff, and was doesn't really do too many comics, but I got him to do this story. So this was really cool to get him into heavy metal for the first time. So, I was, I like working in heavy metal. I think it's fun, but, I'm just trying to do more of my own stuff now. It does take a lot of time away from, doing my own work and doing my own comics, which I really love. So I'm just kind
Yeah.
of trying to focus on the Asylum Press stuff and trying to get back into shops and get back into fans' hands. So just trying to kind of spread the word out.
Now, with getting back into shops, the way that things have been going with distribution lately to the shops, Diamond's future, for me anyway, seems to be up in the air. I mean, if DC and Marvel have both pulled away, it makes me wonder how long they're sustainable as a distributor. Because not that they can't, because obviously other people are going to rise up and do the distribution. But I'm thinking they've already got a debt load on them for being as big as they are. And can they survive at their size doing as little as they were doing?
I think they can. I mean, I think Diamond still has Diamond Book Distributors, which still carries a lot of publishers. And I think they make a lot with gaming too. Don't they own a gaming distribution company as well?
They do, but I thought that they lost some of that recently. I would have to ask my
Right.
LCS guy this Saturday night on the LCS guy show, because he brought me that story before.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, they're still distributing, like they're a sub-distributor of Penguin Random House. So if they make 20% in the middle, maybe they split that now and they make 10. I don't know how many retailers are going to switch to Penguin Random House. Do we know that?
Well, it depends on what the deal is. I mean, we know that Penguin Random House is shipping for free, but if the discount on the titles through Diamond is steep enough to make up the difference, then maybe they'll stick with Diamond and go with the shipping. But yeah. I already know several retailers who have told me flat out they've switched to Penguin because free shipping.
Right. And then also I think Penguin Random House gives them 90 days to pay, where Diamond doesn't give them even 30. I don't know, but Penguin has better credit terms. So I think that is an enticement. But some people, oh, thanks, Heroenberg. Thanks appreciate that. Yeah, Twitter. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on the Instagram. We're on the Twitter. Yeah, 2 days left. Thanks. Yeah, anyone out there, if you guys are listening and could spread the word on your social, I would really appreciate it. I mean, it is tough to get the word out, man, and there's a lot of competition out there for indie comics for sure, and a lot of really good indie comics, which I'm impressed with. When I go on there, if you went on Kickstarter like 10 years ago, you wouldn't see a lot of mainstream guys using it. It was a lot of indie, real indie guys where you were like, oh, maybe the quality wasn't so good. Now you see really top-notch stuff like all the time. Yeah. It's amazing. I'm like, wow, this stuff should be in the stores, So, I think there's a lot of
Eastman and Laird were like working with a mimeograph machine in their garage.
I know.
I'm kidding, kind of, but not really.
I know.
And yeah, that's print-on-demand technology that's out here now, and the funding through Kickstarter and Indiegogo. If you've got talent and you can, get people to back you, there's nothing stopping you from making a book on your own these days, independently, and getting it out there.
Not at all. I mean, and if you have, a fan base like Polito and Zenoscope and some of these other guys that have it, I mean, you could really do well. And if you mix, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and retail sales, you could do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Todd McFarlane got on there and did a toy, an action figure, and just made a couple of $1 million off that. If he were to just,
that's crazy.
If he were to say that's going to be his new distribution method for Spawn, I'm going to keep all the money now and just do it on.
No, I know, man. It's pretty nutty. It's like there's a lot you can do. So this is our second. Oh yeah, if you want me to go through it, I could go through. I could talk through it.
Yeah,
this is our second, Kickstarter. So I've done a few under my own name, Frank Forte, but this is the second one under Asylum Press. And we're just trying to create a cool, presence on crowdfunding, and also just put out some good books. So this is like who WARLASH is, if you don't know. Pummeler of deviant cyborgs, destroyer of abhorrent worms, attractor of femme fatales, annihilator of ghastly beasts. And it's just a little background on who he is. And then there's a little bit about me and my credits, Bob's Burgers, Solar Opposites, The Conjuring, Lovecraft Country, Through Below, Insidious, Despicable Me 2. So yeah, working in comics and animation. This is what we're offering, which is Warlash Cold Metal Mayhem #1 and Warlash Bioburden #1. They're two 32-page standalone comics, one-shots, short stories with me and a bunch of other artists working on the stories. So if you're familiar, there's the cover by Andy Hall, really great illustrator from the UK. And if you're familiar with Steve Mannion's work, he did Fearless Dawn, and he's doing a bunch of covers for Albatross, and just did Hellboy versus Fearless Dawn. He did a story, and the story is featured in black and white in Warlash Dark Noir, and but we colored it for Warlash Cold Metal Mayhem.
Now, you've got these two separate titles. They're both standalones. They're both #1s. Does that mean that these are the first issue of ongoing series of standalone stories, or
no? They're just one shots. We tried. This is what Warlash Dark Noir was too. It was a 3-issue series of hey, Rebel Comics, what's up? Niobe Comics, man, you got to check that out.
Oh, that's the bomb.
He's great.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, he just got to deal with I think Antarctic, man. So I'm psyched for him. Larry Higgins, that's the creator. And like the 3-issue series with short stories, I don't know how it was received as kind of like an anthology. I think with Warlash going forward, I'm going to do 2 and 3 and 4 issue full stories, so there's a longer story. These one-shots are kind of finishing up what I didn't finish with Warlash Dark Noir, and then we're going to combine them into a trade paperback, which is going to be about 128 pages. It's kind of like, think of it as like Batman Black and White, but in color.
Sure.
Short stories of Warlash to kind of give you a feel, but no, they're just one-shots. And
the tiers are pretty reasonably priced too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not charging more than what they are in the stores. In the stores, they're $3.99. I'm charging $5 for a signed issue. I mean, it's not that much, and these are going to be the issues that are in the stores as well. So you're going to get, it's not going to be a digital print. It's going to be like an offset print.
Yeah,
so
that's even cheaper than I was thinking. I was misreading the tier on my side here. I saw $10 for Warlash CMM signed, and then I see and Bioburden
and
both
2
comics for $10.
Yeah, $10 for 2. So because I'm doing offset, it's cheaper to print, so I don't have to charge $10 and $20 each. You're getting, it's not print on demand for those issues. But when you go down to like some of these, so that's a $10 reward, 2 comics.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's not clear, but it's like, it should say 2 comics.
It is. I just read sometimes faster than the words process.
And then the $20 reward is Warlash Dark Noir 1, 2, and 3. So this is the original 3-issue series that I did in 2008, 2009. And you get the first printings of these signed.
Oh,
so
I'm loving that cover on that third one there.
Oh yeah, this is Ali Fell. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
kind of very noirish. So you can get the first printings, and we're running low on those, so that's why we're charging $20 for all 3 of those, and those are all signed. Then when you get down here, these are going to be more the print-on-demand stuff. So $20, those are $10 each. Those are the David Fout variants, and those will be definitely limited print run. We're not going to have like thousands of those. Those will be like there are a few hundred copies printed probably by the end. So that's one variant. This is another little thing I threw in there. This is the Vicious Vixens sketchbook. It's kind of like a femme fatale, dangerous dames type thing, of like a sketchbook of what I do when I'm on my iPad or just sitting around sketching. So it's all kind of like sexy girls and villains and vampires and stuff like that. So I just kind of threw that in because I haven't really done a sketchbook in a while. So tossing that in.
Are these all available to be add-ons? If somebody just picked up the book?
Right. If you want to piecemeal it together, yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to do that. So $40 reward is the metal variant cover, so those are 10 each. If you get those both. $50 reward, I'm doing a sketch on the sketch covers, so it's $10 for the book, $40 for the sketch. It'll be like a pencil ink sketch with a little bit of color. And you could get one for each cover. And there's both of them together if you want to get both or one or the other. Those are rewards. We have the 150 reward, which is like everything you saw there.
Yeah.
You save 30 if you get 150. And then for 180, you get everything with the Vixens sketchbook. And you save 30 there too if you want to get all of it. Then at the end, we have a $40 reward, which is the digital reward. It's kind of like the Asylum Press backstock. If you haven't seen a bunch of our stuff, or you don't know what we do, and maybe you don't want to pay shipping, so for $40, you can get all the digital copies of WARLASH, Vampire Versus, Billy Boy, Insidious Tales, Beyond Doomsday, a lot of cool stuff.
That's 23 comics for $40.
Yeah, it's like $2 each. Crazy, right?
Yeah, that's a great deal for, especially for our readers who we have some that all they can read is digital.
All they create, you mean, or collect?
All they can handle is digital because they have no space. They've got no place to keep real books.
Right. Got it. Yeah. Totally.
Some of them are working remotely in other countries, and they can't take their white box.
And that's why I do it, because I get a lot of people saying, why is it $36 to ship a package to Europe? I'm like, I don't know. That's what it costs. Like, I could ship one comic in an envelope for $11, but I can't put a board in there. If I make it a rigid board, it goes up to $26. It's like crazy.
Yep. Yes, it does.
So I could try shipping this, but it might get destroyed by the time it gets there. I don't know.
Well, that's why we got into the shipping business, Frank.
Oh, right. Oh, you're the guy that, right. You're the one that, that pops out as going to tell. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And then we got the stretch goals. 3,000, you get a trading card. 4,000, everybody gets a trading card. 5,000, there's a 7x10 print. 6,000, 7,000 more like virgin prints from the WARLASH Dark Noir cover series. And I'm going to sign all those too. But I don't know, I think it's a lofty goal, but I think it's probably a little delusional to think I could do 7 or 10,000 in 2 days. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You find out a lot of times that, especially with Kickstarter, even more so than Indiegogo, the last day or two is when everybody throws the money in, and because that's when I back Kickstarters, is on the very last day. And I do that because, and I've explained this. I pay with my PayPal, and I see something I like, I look in PayPal. Is there money there? Yes, there is, and I buy it.
Cool.
Now, if I do that with an Indiegogo, it takes the money. If I do it with a Kickstarter, it doesn't until the last day. And I've been in the position before. I'm like, hey, Kickstarter, I've got money, take it. And 5 days later, I'm like on Indiegogo. I'm like, oh, look, yes, I have money in Kickstarter, take it. Then Kickstarter comes back and says, where's that money?
People like the platforms for different reasons, for sure.
Yeah, and as a customer, that's why I like it from the customer side. So yeah, within the last 48 hours, you'll start seeing people jump in. 24 hours, even more so.
Right. Then we got some really cool add-ons, like the heavy metal number 300 sketch cover. So the cover, and for 200, I'm going to do a fully painted cover, like you see there, of Nelson from the heavy metal movie. Whoa. So it can be one character of your choice, and it will be like a cover painting. So
you're going to paint the cover.
Yeah.
Is the cover stiff enough to not soak it up? Yeah,
I mean it's a card stock.
Okay.
It's like a card stock, and I painted on a bunch before. Like I did this Hellboy, right? And you can see it didn't
warp it or anything.
Nope. So it could take it. You just can't put a lot of water on there, but that's acrylic paint. And you can see it's not warped. Looks nice. Look at that.
Yes, it does. That would look great in one of those little drop in. Let me give you a full screen on that.
Look on a slab. It look nice on a little slab, right? A 9.8.
My StreamYard is
Hellboy.
acting weird tonight. It's very slow on the click results.
Sketch cover with Hellboy. But you know, dude, I messed up the arm. That's his big arm. And I didn't draw it the big arm. I got to repaint that.
He's looking in the mirror.
Yeah, he's looking in the mirror.
Just a little border around the edges of it that show that it looks like a mirror, and
right.
Hey, yeah, he's looking in the mirror and getting ready to go out.
So then I got the add-ons. We're piecemealing it together. I'm going to add a few more on, I think, tomorrow morning, just so the last people coming in on the last minute could get stuff. But there's the WARLASH Dark Noir thing. You can get Asylum of Horrors 1 and 2, which is also signed by me. $10, 5 each.
I'm enjoying these sketchbook add-ons here too. I mean, deadly are the naked.
Yeah, that's from Jim Smith. He's a Ren and Stimpy animation artist, and when I came out to LA, I met him, and we put out some sketchbooks a few years ago. Asylum of Horrors 3, that's never seen print before, so that's an add-on. Vampire Versus #1, second printing, that came out in like 96, I think, after we sold out of the first printing. So that is also available. The Eek trade paperback, which is by Jason Paulos, Australian creator. If you like, eerie, creepy, House of Mystery stuff from the 70s, that's kind of the style he works in.
All the Harris stuff.
So it's very vintage horror. Very cool book. Billy Boy 1, 2, 3. That's kind of like a dark Fantagraphics type title that I did a few years back. So you can get that. Zombie Terrors trade paperback for $15. You can get a big trade paperback of zombie stories, and that's also signed by me. And then the Vampire Versus very first printing, #1 for $20. That is also available. We have limited copies of those, and that will also be signed by me. But Vampire Versus #1, definitely a rare find. And if you're into the black and white horror stuff, I don't know if we could show nudity on here, but I won't. This is like what the Vampire Versus was. Very old school, black and white 90s bad girl horror book,
Yeah, I miss the 90s. There was some good stuff then.
Yeah, there was. That's Vampire Versus #1. Also, because we published Fearless Dawn, we have a few of the back issue titles in stock. So these are Fearless Dawn 1 through 4 and Fearless Dawn a 4 set of the one-shots. Chestacles, Deadly Are the Naked. If you like animation, Ren and Stimpy, the Ripping Friends, anything that Spumco or John Kay did. Jim Smith was one of the artists that worked on the show, and it's all stuff that he did. Hex of the Wicked Witch is my other bad girl book that I never finished, but this is #0 and #1. I'm going to get back to that as soon as I'm finished with WARLASH. And if you want to get the first printings of this, these are also rare, low print runs.
That looks like it'd be a fun one to see if you could do a crossover with Jim Balance Tarot.
Yeah, I'd be up for all that. Totally, man. I'd be up for a crossover. Crossovers are great. And then these are the books I did with Robert Ryan: Satan's Powder Room, Chicken Soup for Satan, and Satan Gone Wild, along with Satan's 3-Ring Circus of Hell. These were all horror anthologies written by Robert Stephen Ryan, and I did the covers. So he came up with the concept. I drew the covers. We kind of collaborated. And, it's all, vintage, not vintage, but, classical short horror stories with a little bit of humor, a lot of gore, and just really twisted. And, definitely limited copies of these available. Not too many, maybe 20 of each or something. From Beyond. From Beyond #1 was the very first comic I ever did in '91. Limited copies of those, and those are signed. So if you want to see early Al Columbia stuff, early my stuff, and some other creators, this stuff, the Al stuff will never be reprinted again because he doesn't really want this stuff seen. He's kind of, so this is really the only place you could see this stuff. And it was 3 issues of, black and white. This is like the start of the indie horror boom in the 90s. Definitely a forgotten book. When people talk about the 90s, they never bring this up, and I get kind of like pissed about it. Hey, don't forget us. We were there too, but everybody,
Yeah.
you know, the big books were, of course, were Lady Death and Razor, Cry for Dawn, Jim Balance book, and all that stuff. And I'm like, hey, we were there too, man. Strange Pirate Tales is a early Steve Mannion book by Big Ape Comics, and we have a few of those in the vaults.
That's a gorgeous cover.
Oh, Steve Mannion's great.
That reminds me of a lot of Dave Stevens, the style of female.
You've never seen Steve Mannion's work?
I'm sure I have. It's just not ringing a bell with me.
Yeah, you got to check him out. So anyway, I could show you some. Well, that was some of Steve Mannion's stuff over there. But in Warlash Dark Noir, he did this black and white story.
Oh, very
so
cool.
This is we could see this story in black and white. But he's like classic cartoonist, classic comic book cartoonist. I mean, people don't draw like this anymore. I mean, look at that stuff. That's Wally Wood meets Dave Stevens. And those are his influences, but it's all Mannion. When you look at a Mannion story, it's Steve Mannion. You know what I mean?
I love the way he does panels. There's no, well, I mean, there's some straight lines, but they're balloonish.
He's great. I love him. He's one of my favorites. Really is.
Yeah. Okay. Now, folks.
So it's really great stuff. Really high quality stuff. So those are the add-ons, and you know, we're going to be adding some add-ons tomorrow. So there'll be a few more books in there, and we're going to piecemeal it together. But if you do MTV called the Grimm Brothers, not the Brothers Grimm. I don't know. I may have. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I can't think of any Grimm Brothers, but I remember Grimm and Mandy.
Grimm and Mandy, but
did you get the title right on that one? Because it was just I remember they were making. Little girl was making death do work for her.
Yeah, right. So that's that. I mean, if you want to, do you want to play the trailer? Because I don't know if I play it, I might not have sound. We could watch the trailer.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll scroll back up to the top of mine, and I have added sound to mine. But again, I've got 11 megabyte upload, and apparently 2 megabyte processor. So sometimes I lose frame rate. We'll see how this plays out.
So that's it. Yeah. So yeah, that's the trailer. We're just trying to do like a last minute push to try to get the word out. But yeah, I don't know, man. I did, press releases and Twitter and social and Facebook groups and indie groups, and I was like 4 or 5, 7 weeks of just hitting it hard, and I think, I think we could have reached more people. I don't know how to get the word out. I think I found it was like difficult. I mean, we're slowly growing, and but I feel like there's more people out there that could like the book,
I think you're right. And I don't know, maybe it's not really the genre, because while there's a lot of horror and stuff on here, Warlash is more of the post-apocalyptic Earth mutation kind of thing.
People like post-apoc, they like sci-fi, and it's a hero. I mean, there's a lot of fans out there that I think would like it. It's just a matter of finding them, it's difficult.
how'd you arrive at the name for Warlash? Because it kind of reminds me of, like, the old and I'm not dissing on the name at all when I say this, but remember how it used to be the joke that Rob Liefeld had 2 bags of Scrabble tiles and he would pull one from each and slap them together and you get rid of claw or blade.
Well,
blade
I did create
whatever.
them. I did create them in '95, and yeah, it was during that time where Liefeld, they were like Rip Claw, Rip Lash, and all that stuff was coming out, and it was during that time where I just kind of was thinking about War and Lash and the Scorpion and his tail and trying to put them together. And I just kind of came up with it, and it wasn't used, so I just kind of grabbed it. But yeah, there was a lot of that stuff in the '90s, which is pretty funny. So it's definitely birthed in the '90s, I would say, But
yeah, I'm betting then with the '90s feel to it that it's got, that's definitely an Indiegogo market.
Okay, cool.
So I think that when you
we could
Indiegogo.
Yeah, if you want to put up the page, you could show people. Do you have the link of the Indiegogo page? If you want to put it up,
I don't have it handy. If you can,
I could send it to you. Yeah, if some of your people are more of the Indiegogo crowd, that's going to run in a couple of weeks. And let me just try to get to the page. Let's see.
While we were just talking, roll the timpani, we just had it go up again a little bit more here.
Oh, cool.
So let's get up over 3,400 before we're done here. That'd be great. That's only another $13, folks. One book will do it.
All right, private chat. Send it in the private chat.
Got
All right,
it.
so this is the link to the Indiegogo. So if some of you guys are more Indiegogo than Kickstarter, the pre-launch page is up, so you could sign up with your email and get notified when it launches. And we're going to run that, probably launch it in a couple weeks, and it'll be all the same stuff, and maybe we'll have some Indiegogo exclusives or something that's a little bit different, a different cover or something.
Get it up here. I've got some background process. Windows must be uploading an update in the background here because everything is.
I mean, it's you could just go to Indiegogo and search Warlash Cold Metal Mayhem, and the page will come up. And it's on all my social too.
Here's what you do, folks. You go in there.
You're going to be the first one to sign up. I love it.
Put it in like that. You click the little agree thing because it's not going to take it without it anyway, so you might as well. And you hit the sign up. Now, you're going to have to check your mail after this because you're going to get did you really send this thing? Click on the link that says you really sent it, and they're going to say, great. Now, because I did this, what happens to me that's not going to happen to anybody who doesn't sign up?
Well, I guess
that's usually how it works.
You just get notified sooner, and people are bugging me to do like a special 24-hour, like a reward at the beginning, right? So early backers get something more exclusive, right?
That's
so
true.
we're thinking about what that is. So if you sign up, you're going to get notified of this exclusive reward. So you'll know first, and it'll probably be like a first 24-hour thing, so you'll just get notified sooner.
Okay. I always ask because a lot of the times what you'll find with Indiegogo is that, if you signed up for the mailing list, then when you back for a physical product, you get like a trading card, and only the mailing list people get the trading card. Oh,
is that? Should I announce that somewhere?
If you're doing it, then you should definitely announce it somewhere. But if you're not doing it, then
so where do you announce that? Like on your page? Like I guess I should announce it somewhere here, right? Like sign up for, if you're an email list person, you get a free trading card.
Yeah, something like that. And be like, it's an exclusive Warlash trading card, or doesn't have to be a trading card. It'd be like, an Asylum Press sticker, of the logo or something. Just something that says, hey, if I signed up for this, it gives them an impetus to sign up for it, other than just getting another email about another project.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's a good idea.
We're announcing
it here. All people that sign up for the email will get something exclusive. I'm not sure yet what it is.
It's a mystery exclusive. Item. So get it there, sign up,
get in there,
check your email, and confirm it.
Get up in there and sign up. So yeah, if you guys are more into Indiegogo, this will be launching soon. But the main thing, yeah, we're trying to just fund on the Kickstarter and see what we could do by Saturday at 9:30. And I'll be on Backer Shots Saturday night.
Oh, never mind. There you go.
Clean it. We do clean house and try to get some people on there. I know those guys are pretty good at ending a campaign, so I'm kind of excited to see what we can do.
It's either Backer Shots or the Bancroft Bump.
Right.
If you've been on Michael Bancroft's show, and if you haven't, you really should.
Yeah, but I don't think I can get on his show now. I think it's too late. Like, I think maybe I'll do that for the Indiegogo.
Do it for the Indiegogo, but Backer Shots, yes. It's a genius show. You get 3 women on there, and then every time somebody backs the project, they all take a shot.
I love it. Yeah, I know.
Why has nobody think of this before?
I know, right? I know. I think Lola was on there. She said she was hungover because of the last one she did. So hopefully she doesn't have to drink too much. But hey, if that's the show, that's the show. Who am I going to say?
You didn't make the rules, man.
Yeah, I didn't make the rules, man. So we're trying to get the word out, and hopefully people really like the content, and we're going to be doing more. So you can find us at asylumpress.com. You can find back issues or see what we're up to. We're on Twitter at Asylum Press, on Instagram, YouTube. We have a YouTube channel as well, so you could look at our trailers and see what we're up to. So we're all over the web if you want to find us.
Excellent. So folks, if you are watching this on the replay, everyone in the chat who's already checked out the link, I'm sure, because they know how this works. If you're watching on the replay, the link to the Kickstarter is right below there in the chat. If you can't find it on Kickstarter, if it's already finished by the time you're watching it, jump over to Indiegogo and do a quick search for WARLASH and back it there.
Yeah, and this right here, this is like the little short link. Inc.pub/WARLASH, or just go to Kickstarter and search WARLASH. I mean, the link is all over my Twitter feed and my Instagram and my website, so it's not that hard to find if you're looking for it. But we got some really cool books, and if you want to support a small indie publisher, that would be me. I mean, I'm the guy writing, drawing, lettering, coloring, walking to the post office with the books, putting them in the mail, packing the books. I do it all. So
that's work.
I'm indie. I've been doing this shit since the early 90s. So, but
trust me, doing work, and
I love it.
Pre-packing all my bags and backers so that when the books we're doing, we're distributing, as soon as they arrive, it's like, okay, just slide them in. They're ready to go.
Yeah, right. So you're a distributor as well. I know you were talking. You do foreign shipping stuff. Is that what you do?
Our main focus has been on the outside the U.S. market, getting in, because the U.S. is the biggest market. But we are working out ways to get from in the United States out. We're still trying to iron out the kinks, but on paper it works great. On paper, I can ship a comic to the UK for $12.
That's the United States Post Office?
Yes. It's Royal Mail is what it is.
I think the easiest solution is going to be to find a print-on-demand printer, one in the UK and one in Europe, so that when you ship, but the books can't be signed, obviously, because I can't sign them.
Yeah.
But, look, if you want to save money, then you don't get a signed book. You just get a print book. So if you're in the UK, you get them from one POD printer. And if you're in mainland Europe, you get them from another. And I think shipping from Spain to France can't be that much, right? So
no, they're all still in the Union. So it's the.
And I'm sure shipping anywhere in Europe to Eastern Europe is probably nothing. And maybe shipping from. But I'd like to find a POD printer in Europe somewhere. Probably France would be the best way to do it, because they do more comic book printing. Yeah. Or maybe Italy or somewhere. So
of course, your add-ons are still things that you've already published, so you still got to send those over.
Yeah. Well, no, it would have to be European add-on, so that the add-ons would also be POD. I would just give them the files.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because anytime I ship there, the minimum for Canada is 26, and the minimum for Europe is 36.
Yeah, what we do is we drop ship, and basically I'll print all the labels off from whatever the local post office is in that country, and I'll package them all, and you have everything packaged ready to go. Log into the post office there, buy the label, slap them all on, and then put them all in one great big box, and send the big box for like $500 and something, 2-day air express to an agent there, and then he gets paid $50 to go to the post office, say, I have a package. They say, boom, here it is. He opens it, dumps it, and walks away.
Is it worth it to send that box there for $500?
It is if you have enough books. Now, when I say 500, that's estimating a box of like 70 boxes. So, 70 comics,
Right.
500 divided across. Yeah, if you divide it across, it comes almost to about $12 a book by the time you take the unit postage and the overarching postage of the ship.
Right. Yeah, I guess if you
but you got to have the quantity. I mean, if you're sending 2 books,
it's not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, well, technically it's still cheaper to send 2 books in one box than 2 books in 2 boxes. So
yeah, I'm not sending that many to Europe. So I'll talk to you. We'll see how the Indiegogo goes.
That's usually the thing, is that people don't send a whole lot overseas. So it's still going to be more expensive than domestic. There's no way around that, but it can be cheaper than sending it one at a time.
Do you distribute to comic stores? Oh, there's Ryan Wynn. Hey, Ryan, what's up, man?
Hey, Captain Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. He inked one of the some pages from the WARLASH story, WARLASH Zombie Mutant Genesis, like years ago.
Of course,
and
he
it's
did.
finally done. It's finally done, and I have a 3-issue print-on-demand version of it and a digital version of it. But we're going to talk more about that. I should probably put it up in this campaign as a print-on-demand reward. It's up there digitally, but I should probably put it up there.
First time I had Ryan on the show, I'm like, oh yeah, this new kid's pretty good here. He does great art. and now I'm finding out, like, he's inked everything.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff for sure, man. For sure.
I'm sure he's like 20 years old, but he has a time machine in his basement. He just keeps going back in time, says, ooh, that was a really cool book. I want my name on it. And just jumps in and does a Bill and Ted and jumps back.
Boom. So do you distribute to comic stores as well, or you're more just a
We will. Right now, everything has been, we consult ahead of time on the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We give you what your numbers are going to be for your shipping, so you can put them on the campaign.
Right.
And ideally that helps you sell more books, and it's worked with our customers so far. You look at like something like The Company Men coming out of Australia. He's sold about 250 copies of that and still going strong and in demand, because the shipping is not $25 anymore. It's $10.
Right.
So that was the goal, was to help you sell more books by lowering your shipping cost ahead of time.
Yeah, we could try that with the Indiegogo. Sure.
We've certainly had people domestically, though, who've said, hey, we want to use your service. I'm like, I'm not saving you any money. And they're like, yeah, but I don't want to do it. So I'm like, okay.
Right.
We'll
you
take
can
care
send.
of that.
I send a lot of stuff medium mail. That's really the cheapest way to go. $3 or $4, you can send a bunch of books. Like if you're doing that, and they say you can't send comics, they don't open that stuff up very often. You can get away with it pretty much.
They don't, but here's the thing. If you read the regulation, which your local postmaster usually doesn't, it's in comic books do not qualify is in the paragraph that says printed media matter with paid advertisements.
Right.
Don't qualify. And it says, because of this, comic books do not qualify for media mail. If you don't have printed advertisements in there, and most print on demand crowdfunded stuff doesn't, you're allowed to advertise your other books.
Yeah, right.
You can say, check out these books while you're at
so
it.
then you can get away with it. Like comic
Absolutely.
books. Well, there's no paid ads. It's just my
Donald
own
DeLay
ad.
has still had his stuff opened and returned by the post office under this rule.
Because they don't know. They think it's paid ads. They just look, they in their heads are like, comic book? No.
Yeah, they see the one sentence. Comic books are not qualified.
Yeah, because they think Marvel, DC are all selling ads, and it's like, no, this is a print on demand. So somebody has to educate them that they don't need to do that for a print on demand book. They're wasting their time.
It's not a comic book; it's a graphic novel.
Right.
It's just, sometimes thinner.
Yeah, right. Sometimes saddle stitched. But
Exactly.
but cool, man. I don't know how long you wanted to go. I've had to get back and do a little work tonight. I've been working and promoting and working and promoting. It's like this never-ending cycle of turning on my creativity, then turning off, then turning on. It's like crazy. But definitely, hopefully we could reach some of your audience, and we'll definitely do this again when I have the Indiegogo up.
We definitely will. And, we do this usually for about an hour. Sometimes we've gone 2.5. It just depends on how the conversation goes. And But, usually an hour, and we're right at it.
Yeah.
So this will be a good time to send you back to making books.
Cool. Yeah, guys. So, yeah, if you're out there, WARLASH Cold Metal Mayhem is live on Kickstarter now. It is ending Saturday, June 19th. We got some really cool books, really cool products. Steve Mannion, Dwayne Harris, myself, and you can get a bunch of back issues from Asylum Press, and we're going to be adding some add-ons tomorrow, so there'll be some new stuff. So definitely help us out if you can, and help spread the word.
Absolutely. Frank, I want to thank you for coming on the show and bringing WARLASH to us. Looking forward to having you back when you do the Indiegogo campaign. Everyone in the chat, thank you for showing up so
thanks,
much.
Guys. Thanks, Ryan, Pops.
Yeah. We don't have a show without you.
El Crudo.
So if you wouldn't mind, smash that, you can smash the like button if you liked it. I'm not going to tell you to smash if you didn't. Smash the share button, not for me, but for our guests. It's always about our guests. Spread the word on their projects, get in front of more eyeballs. And as always, we just hope you had a blast.